Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. Welcome back to Swarup IT Learning Solutions. Now, in this particular video series, we are learning how to install and configure your Linux Mint version 22. Administrating Linux Mint version 22. Now, we will practically execute following steps in this part 4 video. Now, we have already completed our part 1, part 2 and part 3 videos. If you want to see those videos, you can see through Swarup IT Solutions YouTube channel playlist. Now, in this part 4 video, what all steps we will going to cover. So we are mainly concentrating on backing up and restoring your data or your OS configuration in this particular part 4 video. So backing up and restoring Linux Mint with a snapshot provision as well as manual backup tool. So what all steps we will be performing in this particular part 4 video. First of all, backing up and restoring your profile data using backup tool. Okay, so there is a built-in backup tool in your Linux Mint. How to use it, how to backup your profile data. Next is we will be setting up a snapshot configuration for the first time in Linux Mint 22. Okay, how to set up your snapshot so that every particular defined schedule, a snapshot configuration will run in the background without disturbing the current user session, and it will take the backup of your entire systems, okay, including your data as well as your system files. Okay, so that will be your snapshot configuration. Then we'll be creating a manual snapshot, one time snapshot in Linux Mint 22. So I will show you the steps how to create that snapshot manually. And next is, of course, we will be restoring and testing our snapshot. Once we created that manual snapshot, we will be restoring that snapshot to see how it works. Okay, so let's start. So the step number 1 is create a simple Word file, that is test.odt, and save it on Linux admin account's desktop. So I'm going back to my Linux Mint OS, logging with the Linux admin account. Now here I will create one simple Word file. Okay, now unlike your Windows, there is no Microsoft Office or doc file. Instead of that, we can open the Open Office. So in Open Office there is a writer. It equals to your Microsoft Word. I'm clicking this. Just this thing. I'm just typing a simple line. And now I'm saving it on my desktop. So I'll say save as. Here I will choose desktop, and here I need to give the name. Okay, so by default the extension for this is ODT. So I will say save. Now close this, and then this file has been created. This is test.odt. Now let's move on to the next step. Next step is create a simple spreadsheet file .odf and presentation file test.odp and test.odf, and save it on Linux admin's accounts documents. So we will do a couple of files creation. So these files I am just creating for the sample purpose. So as you can see, if I am coming to this particular documents folder, there are two files over here. Test.odp, this is my presentation file, and ODS is my Excel file. uh, Sorry if I'm using the Windows file namings, so it's a spreadsheet for Linux. So these are, and one more file we have created on desktop. So just for sample purpose, we have created some profile documents over here, right? Let's move on to the next step. Next step is we need to create a folder called backup inside our Linux Mint D drive. So I'm going to my Linux Mint D drive. From here I am creating a new folder called backup. Why I am creating a folder called backup in Linux Mint D? Because it is always advisable to keep your backup apart from your system and partition to some secondary partition. So we have already created the secondary partition in the part 3 video. For our VM's creation, I am using the same partition. So this folder has been created. Let's move on to the next step. Through Linux Mint start search, you need to type the backup and open the backup tool. I'm closing this. Now this particular backup tool is a built-in feature in Linux Mint, so you don't need to install it externally or something like that. So this is your backup tool window. Okay, let's move on to our next step. Next step is on backup tool window. Click on personal data and then click on backup now option. Okay, so this is a data, personal data you can backup from now. You can backup your software configuration also through this option, software selection, but as of now we are just backing up our data. I will click on backup now. Okay, next is on backup tool window. Select where you want to save the backup file option and click other and select your Linux admin backup folder which we have just created, right? Now one thing I need to clear over here, by default it is creating one backup folder in your documents folder. You can see over here it has already created. When I have started my backup tool window, it is automatically creating this backup file. But this is not suitable because let's say my primary system partition got crashed. That means my backup folder also got crashed. Then what is the provision for backup? So we don't want to use this system partitions backups folder. Okay, although it is automatically creating, even if I'm deleting now, it will again create when I'm opening my backup tool. So let it be as empty. This is empty currently. We don't want to use it either. So which backup folder we need to use? We need to use this Linux Mint backup folder, right? So what I'm doing is I'm clicking on this. This is your default document backups folder. We don't want to use it. I will click on others, and I will click on other locations, Linux Mint and backup folder. Okay, and say open. So I'm using this backup folder. This is an external secondary partition backup folder, right? Let's move on to the next step. Click forward. So next step is very important. I will explain this step to you. We need to exclude our mount directory from backing up, and click forward. Why do I require this? Because by default this backup tool is backing up everything which is inside your documents folder. So if I'm going to my documents folder, okay, sorry, inside my home folder. So if I'm going to my home folder, there is a folder called mount, which we have used to mount our Windows share, if you remember in the part 2 video. So inside this my whole Windows share contents are there, which is around about 16-17 GB. So I don't want to unnecessary back up this mount folder, because first of all this is not a local folder, this is a shared folder, this is a network folder. The data resides on some other machine, right? So we don't want to back up that one. But if I'm not excluding it especially from this list, it will automatically start backing up my mount folder also. So I need to specially mention that don't back up my mount folder. Okay, so I'm excluding it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to excluding directories, because in Linux your folder is called directory. So I will choose my mount and I will say open. So it will exclude this particular mount folder. Okay, I hope you got the point. If not, reverse this video and please listen to this again one more time, and how we have mounted this Windows share, how we can access that Windows share through our Linux Mint. Everything has been explained in part 2 video. You can watch that part 2 video if not done already. Okay, so this is done. I will click on forward. So I'm excluding my mount folder. So as I explained, I have just put in a note that above step is required to stop backup tool for taking unnecessary backup of our Windows mounted share contents. So next is include desktop and documents directories to backed up, and click apply. So now we can include whatever files we need to back up. So I will click on include and I will go to the desktop first and I will say open. This is include files. We don't want that, we want directories, right? So I will choose desktop, open. So whatever is there in desktop, it will backed up. Okay, and then again I'm going to documents. I will say open. So these two folders I need to backed up as of now. You can select whatever folders you want to apart from this. Okay, you can select as many as you want, right? But don't select the subfolders. Let's say you have selected desktop and there is a one folder inside the desktop. So don't select it, because once the desktop is selected, the subfolders will automatically get backed up. Anyways, so now I have selected those ones. Now once I am clicking apply, it will start backing up my files immediately, right? So I am clicking apply now and let's see what happens. And you can see within a second, because those files were very, very small, your files were successfully saved, right, to this one. See, now it is giving us a confirmation. You need to close that backup tool window on confirmation page after backup completion. So it is giving us your files were successfully saved. I am closing this. So now let's move on to the next step. So we need to verify the backup file on our Linux Mint D drive backup folder, right? So take a note over here. Your backup files are not absolutely backed up. It is getting converted into .tar format. So if I'm going to my Linux Mint D, I'm going to backup. So this is a .tar. It's like a zip format. So it is giving us the date and timestamp also, what time we have backed up that particular files or folders, right? So this is our one backup copy, which is under your Linux Mint D backup folder. Okay, and depending upon your data, it is further shrinking or zipping that data and converting it into .tar format. Now we need to test it. So delete the couple of files from the desktop and documents folder which we have created earlier, right? So what I'm doing is I'm deleting, closing this one. I'm deleting this file. Okay, shift delete, so permanently delete. And now going to the documents folder, and here also I'm deleting these two files. Shift delete, delete, right? So I have deleted all the three files which we have created earlier, right? Now let's see whether we can restore this. So open your backup tool and click on personal data and restore. So again I am opening my backup tool. And there is an option called in the personal data. First we have checked the backup, now we are checking the restore one. Okay, so let's see. So on backup tool restore window, select following options. So what are the options? Please select the backup to restore. So here we need to select our tar file that has been in the Linux Mint backup folder, right? So I will click on this path. I will go to my other locations, Linux Mint and backup, and I will choose this particular file. So the files will get restored using this particular backup copy, right? And next option is no, only restore missing files. Now let's say I have backed up 10 files, but only 2 files have been lost. 8 files were intact. So I don't need to back up all the 10 files because it will overwrite my rest of the 8 files, and I may have updated rest of the 8 files also during the time. So I don't want to use the second option, yes, overwrite the changes and restore the content. So I will choose the first option. This is the safest one, that no, only restore the missing files. So whatever files were missing or deleted or got corrupted, it will only restore those ones. So I will choose this option, right? We need to click the forward, and you can see your files were successfully restored. So close the backup window upon restoration confirmation. and verify the restored files from the desktop and documents folders. So as you can see, this file has been reappeared now, and let's go to our documents folder also, and you can see the other two files were also visible now. So it has restored my missing files. It has not touched the other files because I have chosen that option, only restore the missing files. So this is how you can use our local backup tool. Okay, now let's move on to the next part of creating and restoring your snapshot. Okay, so through Linux Mint, start, search, type and open welcome screen. So through here I will just type welcome and I will open the welcome screen. So through Linux Mint, start, search, type and open the welcome screen, that we have already done. Next is through welcome screen, click on first steps and click on launch under snapshot menu. Okay, so I will click on first steps and there is an option called system snapshot. So I need to click on launch over here to launch my snapshot configuration window. It will ask for the Linux admin password. I am just putting it. So this we have already done, right? Now on the snapshot setup wizard, snapshot type, it is automatically selected as rsync. So we need to just click on next. Okay, what do you mean by rsync? That means it will sync only the current configuration as a current snapshot. Okay, so it has synced our, means it has scanned our system partition. So let's see what can be our next step. We have already done this monitor. Now in the snapshot location wizard, make sure to select Linux Mint departition to save the snapshot and click next. Okay, so where should we save our snapshot? This is, select the snapshot location. So we will select our external drive, because again if we are saving our snapshot on our system partition only and our system partition got destroyed, there is no usage of our snapshot. So always put your snapshot to a secondary partition. So I am selecting the Linux Mint and I will say next. Now next step is very important to understand how this snapshot provision works under Linux Mint. So select snapshot level, that is your schedule as per your requirement, and click next. And this is an important one. Please read out and understand the snapshot creation condition as stated in sideline figure. Okay, now we need to understand this one. Now this is the schedule for monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, and boot. Okay, so if I am selecting daily, so it will create a new snapshot every day. It will create a new snapshot every day and it will keep maximum of 5 copies. This is the first condition. Okay, the schedule plus copies. Now second condition is, this is more important. Snapshots are not scheduled at fixed times. Means we cannot schedule these snapshots in Linux Mint. We cannot schedule snapshot on running on a specific time. Let's say I want to run this snapshot on 9 PM. We cannot do that. it will automatically run in the background. So the second line is very important to understand. A maintenance task runs once every hour and creates a snapshot as needed. As needed is very important. What do you mean by that? Every hour the maintenance task will run. It will compare your existing snapshot with the current system configuration. If it finds some changes, it will again run that particular snapshot on a schedule base, whatever you might have done, and then it will create as required. If within an hour I have created 2 more files, it will then only log those changes and it will override only those changes, not the other ones, because other files have not touched. So this is how this snapshot works. Next is boot snapshots are created with a delay of 10 minutes after system startup. That means if I am restarting my machine, the boot configuration files are also getting backed up in my snapshot after 10 minutes interval. Means my system is stable now. After 10 minutes, it will take a backup of my boot configuration in my snapshot. Okay. So this is very important to understand all those conditions. If you want to hear it again, pause this video, reverse this, and again listen to this explanation. Okay. Now I have selected the daily one, and now I will select next. So next step is select which all files you need to include in your OS snapshot and click next. So by default everything is excluded as of now. So what I will do is I will choose my Linux admin, home Linux admin, and let the other accounts exclude, because other accounts I am not using anyhow. Okay, only for some couple of times I have logged in. So by default my default account is Linux admin, so I am include all files. So there is an option called include only hidden files or include all files. So I am selecting include all files with my Linux admin home profile. Okay, and now I will say next. Now setup is complete. Okay, this is the one time or first time setup for snapshot. Let's see. So there is a note, we are selecting only /home/Linux admin, our current user profile folder, for testing snapshot restoration. Right. So let's see. Next is click finish to complete the snapshot setup. We'll complete this. Now we have completed our setup, but a snapshot is not created because we have selected the schedule as daily. But for this labs setup purpose, we are not waiting for that daily schedule to run, because it will take maybe 24 hours or something. So we will create one snapshot manually now. Okay, and we will test it by restoring some of the files also. Okay, so let's see. So through terminal, run following command to open the snapshot creation restoration wizard. What is the command? Sudo timeshift, sudo -timeshift -gtk. So I'm closing this as of now. Closing this also. Opening the terminal window, because I need to show you through welcome screen also you can launch, but it will again launch the configuration file. But we have completed our configuration. So how to open the snapshot wizard directly? So there is a command called sudo timeshift gtk. Okay, so let me just complete this timeshift gtk. Let's see if this is the correct one. Okay, let's see. Sudo timeshift gtk. Alright, the command I was typing a bit wrong, so there was no hyphen in between sudo. So sudo then space timesheet gtk. Okay, this is the right command. So I'm entering this command now, and it will open our snapshot creation window directly. Okay, so next step is on snapshot wizard, click on create. So we need to manually create our snapshot. So it will first get the feel of your system, what is the estimated side, and it will directly start creating your snapshot, right? So monitor the snapshot creation process. That's what we are currently doing. So you can see over here the conditions over here, no change 0, then created this once, and then change items and all those things. So currently it is syncing the files with rsync functionality. It will take 2 minutes or so, and now you can see it is backing up some of the very important your configuration files of Linux Mint operating systems. The modules, just like the exes in Windows, all those configuration files, it is backing up. So it might take a bit more time because of the first time we are running this particular snapshot. It's a fresh OS, first time the snapshot is running, that's why it will take some time. Next time onwards it will take less time because it will only compare your changes. Or if you are taking a full snapshot, then of course it will take that much time. So now you can see the snapshot copy has been created. It has given us the date and timestamp also, and where it has been created on our Linux Mint D drive, that is our external drive. Okay, and just a minute, let me just maximize this. What is the overall size? That is 39.3 GB. That is available for our system partition. So if I'm going to my Linux Mint D drive, over here there is a folder called time shift, which is automatically created when we are creating our snapshot. If I'm going inside, you can see the snapshot, snapshot boots, snapshot daily, snapshot hourly, all those folders have been created. We have selected our daily schedule, so whenever the new snapshot will get created, it will get created over this particular folder, inside this folder, and there will be 5 copies. Then the 6th copy will be over writing your first copy. Like that the schedule will continue to run. Okay, so this is how you can, if I'm going to snapshot, this is manual way. So we have created a snapshot just now, so it is showing me this particular snapshot. Okay, we have created this snapshot by 2:18 p.m. and 44 seconds. So you can see the current time over here. So this is how it is keeping your all the snapshot copies in your timesheet folder of your external drive. You need to understand. So wherever you are selecting the external drive for snapshot storing, make sure it should have that much space available. Let's see what is the size of our snapshot, current snapshot. You can see over here 39.3 GB. That's what it was showing over here. See, 39. So a complete snapshot without any, what do you say, major specific data, because this is a fresh OS. Still it is taking over 39 GB. Okay, so make sure your storage should have that much space available for taking a snapshot. Okay, so this is how you can create a manual snapshot over here, or it will run it with your preferable schedule also. Okay, so verify the snapshot creation date and timestamp after creation process completes. This we have already done. So next is, now we need to check our snapshot. So we need to check the restoration process. So what I am doing is delete the test.odt file which we have created earlier, and I will delete a couple of more files also. Just a minute. So let me just close this, exit, and now I will delete this particular file. Okay, delete, and I will go back to my documents folder also. I will delete those two files also again. Remember, we have deleted these files for manual backup restoration process. Now we are deleting this for snapshot restoration process, checking the restoration. So now we have deleted all the three files. Let's see. Restart your Linux Mint system once. Now I am deliberately restarting this machine because I want to check my snapshot after restart of your system, not on immediate live basis. I'm restarting this one. I'm logging with the Linux Mint Linux admin account. Now let's move on to the next step. We will restore our snapshot and we will see whether those deleted files are also getting restored or not. So again, through terminal, run the following command to open the snapshot creation and restoration wizard. So sudo timesheet gtk. So this particular command we need to run again. So I'm opening the terminal window and entering the command. So it has opened our snapshot window. So now through snapshot wizard, select the most recent snapshot which we have created earlier and click on restore. So I'll click on restore over here. Sorry, first we need to select this one. Select the existing one and click on restore. So let's move on to the next step. So verify the target device list for snapshot restoration and click next. Now this is our system partition SDA3 and keep on root devices. All the options are already selected. If you want to restore only, let's say, external partition, if you are taking the snapshot of external partition also, you can do that, but as of now I'm not changing anything because we have done the snapshot only on our system partition. So, and the boot partition is this, everything is by default selected, so I will say next, and now you can see it has started comparing the files first and then it will restore our snapshot. We have deleted 3 files if you remember, right? So you can see over here the created files are 3. So it has created those 3 files again, whatever we have deleted last time, right? So next step is, of course, monitor the snapshot restoration process that we are doing right now. And now one important thing I need to show you. So verify that snapshot process had created some of the deleted files from previous snapshot, right? So if I'm selecting, it has restored the original files with no changes, restore, and it has created those files which we have deleted, 1, 2, 3. You can see the desktop test.odt, then documents test.odt, and documents test.ods, right? So next is click next. I'll say next. This is the file restoration step what we have completed. There is another step now coming up. So next is warning. Click next on warning page. So this is the next step where it will restore our boot configuration also. So data will be modified on the following devices, that is boot, EFI and all. So I will say next. And now please do not interrupt the restore process. System will reboot after the files are restored. So these are the boot configuration files also. It is been restoring using your snapshot copy, right? Because we have selected that option also while creating the snapshot, that my boot configuration should also getting restored. Now it has automatically restarted our machine. So we have already done this. Monitor the restoration process, and then after the snapshot process completion and automatic reboot of OS, log in with Linux admin account and verify the deleted files had been restored. So let's see. So I have logged in with my account. Let's see whether my snapshot has restored my files or not. Yes, one file is visible on desktop which we have deleted, and the other 2 files are also visible. So it has restored one. Okay. So we have seen 2 different ways of backing up and restoring our system. One is your local backup tool and one is your snapshot. Local backup tool is a manual way to take the backup of your user profile files and folders, and snapshot is more advanced level of a backup tool where you can take a complete snapshot of your operating systems as well as your boot configuration files. So it will restore your files also as well as your OS configuration also. Okay, so this is how you can check your backup and restoration process for both the options. You can configure whichever option is suitable for your environment. Okay, so this completes our part 4 video. So in the upcoming part 5 video of Administrating Linux Mint 22 series, we will cover following topics. This is just an advanced level of an notification I'm just giving. So first we will see upgrading Linux Mint 22 Wilma Cinnamon. This is the current version what we are currently working to 22.1, that is Zia Cinnamon. Now I need to give you a bit of idea of versions for those Linux Mint operating systems that I will give in the next part. So currently we are working on Linux Mint 22 and 22.1 is also now available. So we will upgrade it from 22 to 22.1. So what we will cover within this particular topic. So introduction to the Linux Mint upgradation. What do you mean by introduction by by upgradation? What is the meaning of upgradation? What are the benefits and all? So of course different ways of upgrading Linux Mint operating system. And secondly, then actually upgrading practically Linux Mint 22 to 22.1 through update manager and then through command line or terminal option also. Okay, so we will see two different ways how to upgrade from Linux Mint 22 to 22.1. Okay, so thanks all for watching this particular video and for your time. This is your host from Swaroop IT Solutions. If you like this particular video, do share it with your friends and colleagues and IT counterparts, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again from Swaroop IT Solutions. Have a good day.